Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. AMC stock is down another 2%. What is really new here? Another mediocre day overall. Not super bearish, not super bullish, but you are declining at least slightly. Now, we're going to get into all of the news today for our markets. We're going to get into all of your AMC specific data that you need to know as well. So, let's get into it. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys think about this information down below in the comments section. So let's start with the broad markets, what's actually happening today out there. So home prices kept rising even as mortgage rates surged. S&P Case-Shiller says home prices were 3.9% higher in September compared with the same month a year earlier, according to the S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller Index. The growth coincided with a 30-year fixed mortgage rates climb towards 8%. Rents are easing, however, while home prices rise. So rents easing is good. Home prices rising, obviously bad for inflation, but rent is really the main component that people look at in shelter inflation. So that's a little bit of good news. Now, Black Friday shopping turnout soars to a new record as consumers seek bargains. Shopper turnouts across websites and stores hit an all-time high of 200.4 million over the 5-day weekend from Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday, according to a survey by the National Retail Federation. Shoppers shelled out an average of $321.41 on holiday-related purchases over the weekend. That's roughly in line with last year. The strong turnout comes as shoppers bargain hunt and retailers strike a more cautious tone. So this is better than expectations. This is actually up 7% year over year, or up 7.5% year over year for Black Friday. And for Cyber Monday, you're up 9.6% year over year. So some estimates have holiday shopping at a total of 3 to 4% higher year over year. It looks like you could be much higher than that. And that's going to be a good sign for the economy, right? You want to see people still spending money, or the economy could falter and deteriorate at a pretty aggressive clip. About 70% of GDP is consumer spending, and the consumer actually spending money. So you definitely want to watch this data. And for anyone that is a bull out there, this is good news. At the same time, it's almost Goldilocks, what we're saying here. Fed Waller expressed confidence that policy is in the right place to bring down inflation. Fed Governor Christopher Waller said Tuesday he is increasingly confident that policy is currently well positioned to slow the economy and get inflation back to 2%. Waller added that he could see a point where the Fed might start lowering rates if inflation continues to ease over the next 3 to 5 months. Governor Michelle Bowman offered a contrasting view in which she reiterated her belief that more rate hikes likely will be needed as evolving dynamics keep inflation elevated. So you're starting to get a little bit of dissension here from some of the Fed members. We haven't seen any dissension at any Fed meeting yet, and that's basically where the voters vote. If there's 12 voters, a dissenter would be like one voter that continues to vote no or not to raise rates, and everyone else is voting to raise rates. You might start to see some of that coming about here, as really you're in the last stretch. It's one of those questions, really. How quickly do you want to get inflation down? How much pain do you want to cause to the economy? Fed Christopher Waller obviously doesn't want to cause as much pain as Bowman does. As far as the broader markets today, the VIX is up 1.10%. Russell 2000 is down about 0.5%. The NASDAQ is flat. S&P is flat. And the Dow is up about 0.25%. But today's another mixed bag, because if you're looking at the indexes themselves, you'd say stocks really aren't doing much. But a lot of stocks are moving quite big, right? Some stocks, like a Tesla's up 3.5% today. Some other stocks, like an AMC for this case, is down about 2%. So it's really just a mixed bag. Some stocks are doing well when some stocks are not doing well. Let's take a look at bond yields today. Bond yields continue to fall on the 10-year Treasury, down another 3 basis points today, down to 4.35%. So this should be positive for interest rate sensitive companies, for small mid-cap companies, a stock like a Tesla as well. but it's not being reflected in the Russell 2000 index, which I do find very interesting today. Oil is up about 2.5%, not exactly great, and gold is up 1.3%. That's also not exactly great. And then let's go ahead and take a look at what your other commodities are doing. Like you see there, oil up 2%. The dollar, there's no way it's flat again today. Okay, the dollar's down 1/3 today. Okay, that's good news. Just you want to see the dollar continue to fall. The lower the dollar, the more bullish it makes sense stocks are. Gold is breaking out to a new high of really the last like 6 months or so here. You're up 1.2% on the day today. It's very strange because why is gold going higher? There's definitely some fear out there amongst investors somewhere. Now, let's take a look at the option activity you're seeing here today. Total call volume of 48,000. Total put volume of 23,000. At the ask or above on the call side, almost 31,000. At the ask or above on the put side at about 13,000. So much better ratios you're seeing here on the call side. The $7 call is pretty dang active today with about 20,000 contracts that are being bought. The $7.50 call pretty active as well, about 10,000 contracts being bought. And then the $8 call has about 4,000 contracts. $9 call has 3,000. $8.50 call has another 3,000 contracts. The only put that's getting any kind of real activity today is this $6 put with about 7,690 puts that are being bought. And then you have 4,000 that are being bought at the $6.50 put, and at the $5 put about 5,000 being bought, but much smaller numbers than what you're seeing compared to the call side. And that has been the trend most of the time. Most of the time, you have seen a lot more call activity than put activity, so that's really not anything too new. Now, AMC stock is currently down 2.13%. The RSI is at 31.49, so about to break under that 30 level. Not exactly what you want to see, but again, anytime now, it wouldn't surprise me to see an oversold bounce. But we have this dilution problem. Adam Aron has no idea what he's doing. He has no idea how to run a publicly traded company, and he continues to dilute shareholders. So this is one of those things where why would you cover on a short? Why would you be bullish if you're just going to be diluted on coming in a month, 2 months, 3 months? That's a big overhanging catalyst, a negative catalyst that is over top of AMC stock. That's a big problem. The MACD is also pretty negative as well. It looks like to me AMC stock is probably going back to the $5 range, but obviously the data and how the markets move will also be important. Now, let's go ahead and get into some of this Ortex data here. And that's actually exciting. So for AMC short interest, you are at 10.84%. So that's actually up about 1% from yesterday's estimates. That's pretty good. Although I don't believe these numbers, the higher these numbers, logically, speaking, the higher the numbers probably are in general. Now, you have $145.84 million worth of short positions currently on AMC stock. Days to cover sitting at about 0.9 days, call it 1 day. 21.45 million shares that are currently sold short. Shares out of loan 16.33 million. Cost to borrow 1.32%. Utilization of 38.45% and a short score of 58.87 out of 100. Cost to borrow average 2.54%. Cost to borrow minimum negative 0.2%. Cost to borrow max at 10.7%. Taking a look at the interesting flow sentiment, you have seen 4 orders today totaling $416,000 with a positive order value of 17%. So not exactly bullish from hedge funds and institutions, and that is probably why the stock is down 2% today. Now, taking a look at the volume today, 76.58% of the volume is to the call side, 23.42% of the volume is to the put side. So retail is bullish, hedge funds, institutions, not so bullish. That's kind of what we've seen recently, and that does continue to be the case here today. Now, a quick look at the Stock O Tracker data. for this week. You got about 2,500 calls currently in the money, and about 76,000 calls out the money. Puts in the money 13,740, puts out the money of 29,000. So for whatever reason, if we do get an oversold bounce, if you do get AMC stock moving higher, if you can start to break above $7 per share and then $7.50, that could fuel a run to about $8 per share. I'm not going to hold my breath. I think we probably have higher odds at this point of falling back to $5 per share. And that's why I was very clear in the last video. If you guys are someone that, has a large position in AMC and you're concerned that maybe the stock just does nothing for a while, whereas the markets rally, right now is probably a good time to diversify into interest rate sensitive companies, into a Fubo, into a SoFi, into a Tesla, into these companies that are high quality names, improving earnings, a PayPal, a Crocs even, that high quality, improving over the last 2 years, but stock prices that are down 50 to 80% from all-time highs. Those are stocks that could probably 2 to 3x in 2024. I think AMC could do the same, but I don't think it's a certainty at this point with the dilution. Without all of this dilution, I think AMC stock right now would be probably in the high teens, if not the 20s. Just alone. Like no short squeeze or anything. Just following last earnings. But we're not because of this dilution. And I don't know when it's going to stop. I don't know if it's going to stop. I don't know, Adam Aaron's ultimate plan to send the stock to $1. What's his idea here? I don't know. It's hard to say. So let me know what you guys think of this down below in the comment section. That's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.